What is going on, Zen Dude Nation? Today, we are going to be learning and going over again the fundamentals of how to jump rope, because you need to get these skills down before we start doing some of the more advanced stuff. So, you can't run if you can't walk. You know what I'm saying? Your homework is to jump rope for 5 minutes. That's it. Continuously. Let's get into it, y'all. All right, dudes and dudettes. So to start off, guys, we're going to start with sizing your rope. Now, it's super important to have the right jump rope cable length. And as you can see here, you can measure that by stepping in the middle of the rope and pulling the handles up to your nipple or chest area. And as you can see, the rope handle should be right underneath my armpit. So as you can see here again, now the recommended size for your rope, guys, if you are 5'10" or taller, your rope cable, excluding the handles, should be 3 feet taller than your height. So I'm 6'3", so therefore my rope cable is 9'3", not including the handles. If you're below 5'10", just add 2 feet 10 inches to that, and that's the length of the rope cable that you should have. See, again, pulling it up into underneath my armpit. It's super, super important to have the right rope length, because you have the right combination of tightness and ability to spin that rope. Now, holding the rope, guys, before we go all out and start showing you how to jump, you're going to need to know how to hold the rope. Now, notice here, my body's in perfect symmetry. My wrists are jutting out to the sides of my hips directly, and jump rope is all about doing less. There is not a lot of movement involved, as you'll see here in a sec. But in terms of holding the rope, you don't want to be too high up. You don't want to have your wrist down too far, because you want to spin the rope so that it clears your head with the same amount of inches or centimeters that it clears your feet. So you want to be right in the middle of that spin. Always have your knees bent, guys. I cannot stress that enough. You don't want to be, having your knees locked, because that will definitely mess them up. You don't want to be having them, too low, because that would be a really hard way to jump rope. Anyway, next up, guys, we have get up on your toes. Okay, so with bending the knees, guys, you want to make sure that you're up on the balls of your feet, on your toes the entire time you're jumping. You never want to be flat-footed, okay? And as you can see here, I'm jumping and I'm on my toes the entire time, and my feet are not coming any more than at the most 2 inches off the ground for regular bounce. So somewhere in the range of 1 to 2 inches is all that. And as you can see, I start going faster, and it requires that I actually jump lower to the ground. So now, putting it all together, guys, spinning the rope, check out my body movements here. As you can see, jumping rope is all about doing less. The only thing that's working here, guys, you'll see in a sec, my wrists. My wrists are controlling everything. I cannot stress that enough. Some people jump too high and do almost like a butt kick, and you really want to focus more on your wrists, and the feet will follow, I promise. So check out here the wrists. Notice how I'm spinning the rope with just using my wrists, and my shoulders and everything above my elbows has no movement, as you can see here from the side. Look at that, perfect. Up on the toes, knees bent. I'm swinging the rope. Everything is controlled by my wrists, and I'm making sure that everything is staying nice and tight. So go ahead, guys. Trust me, I was not, and Brandon was not that good when we first started, and that's totally fine. I know I say this in every video, but it just takes some practice. So next, what I want to talk to you guys about is how can you just start doing this? What I'd recommend is that you guys start practicing 3 to 5 minutes a day to just get the fundamentals down of this regular bounce, because this, from here, if you can spin the rope fast, you can not only get an awesome body, but you can do more tricks and make it challenging.
So the first exercise in set B is your squats. Now, you'll notice this one is no load axial, okay? Because most people at this stage of the program, weeks 3 and 4, aren't really ready for compressive load on their knee, okay? So we don't put any load on here. There's no weights with this one. The load we get is your band. So while I'm waiting for your VMO to fire up a little bit, get a bit stronger, while I'm waiting for a bit of time, a bit of strength, and a bit of conditioning, I'm going to get you working on more and more glute, because that'll then, when you're ready to put some load on, your glutes increase a little bit more, it can handle the load, okay? So, band on again, just like you had with the clams. Make sure you have it nice and flat. Okay, so get that thing flat. Again, it doesn't have to be a big band, but if you're a bit bigger, a bit strong, of course you can have a bigger band. Now, with all squats, what do? Well, make sure your feet are nice and wide, okay? Knees need to be out over your feet. Don't have your knees rolling in, okay? And this is going to teach you a bit of a better squat patterning as well. So, there's no point putting weight on if you can't squat correctly. So get your squat pattern sorted first in this sort of weeks 3 and 4. And then next stage, of course, you're going to put some weight on and then you get some real strengthening going on. So this stage here, what I like to do, put my hands in this position because this is where I hold the kettlebells when we put load on, okay? So we're not doing a back squat. We're going to be doing a front squat in time, so you're best to start with your hands in this position. Now, when you squat down, just work on going to just above 90 degrees. So if I show you this way, you're just going down to about that point there. No point going low, okay, because you're just going to round your back out a little bit more, and your strength down low is probably not good enough yet, right? So I don't like people going sort of too low that they lose neutral spine, okay? So the best safe way of doing it is just keep the hips a little bit above the knee line, all right? But at this point here, I can keep my back nice and straight, hands in the middle, and trying to keep not an excessive amount of curve. So don't let your back round out and do a big curve. At the same time, don't let it round under, all right? So hands in here, keep your upper body upright, down to there, and back up again. Now, make sure when you squat, your knees are bending at the same sort of ratio as your hips. So don't sort of let your knees go forward and then try and squat. Like at the same time, don't sort of let your knees do nothing and squat and do sort of half a deadlift, all right? Your knees need to go forward as your hips go backwards, okay? Now, some people might have a bit of patellofemoral pain if they let their knees go too far forward because they're getting a bit of shear load. And that might be because their VMO is not good enough or their glutes aren't good enough, that sort of thing. So if that's one of you, you just work to the point where the pain's about to start there, then you come back up. As you get stronger, as the weeks go on, remember you've got 2 weeks in this stage, you may find you go, by sort of day 10, I can get a bit lower, okay? Because you have to get that full range like that before you stack the weight on, okay? And it may be that you have to work on this week for a bit longer than 2 weeks to get that normal movement pattern before you load it. And that's a very important tip. Make sure you get your range before you start loading up the joint. Otherwise, you're just going to run into problems.
What's going on, guys? Nathan Loy here, Quick 10 Workouts, and today we're going to go over how to do a push-up. I had a couple of people ask about this, so hopefully this will help you guys. I know whenever I was starting out, I used to hate doing push-ups. If you're in this boat, then this video is for you guys today, or if you've been doing push-ups for a while, this will help keep your form on target as well. Valentine's Day is right around the corner, so I'm kind of wearing pink today for you guys. Hopefully you guys will enjoy this. So, without further ado, we'll get into it. So what we're going to do is coming down. Got my mat here to kind of cover up the tiles. Not too great, but starting out, first things first, you want your hands lined up with your shoulders, or underneath your shoulders, and then lined up with your chest. And we're actually going to start from the floor. So come down to the floor. And if you're just starting out too, this is actually the best way to do it in my opinion, is feet are lined up as well. You're just going to push straight up. You want to keep your core nice and tight and nice in line, almost like you're doing a plank each time as you're coming up. What you don't want to do is you don't want to sag down and you don't want to bend up as you're coming up as well too. Now, if you're getting started and you're on your knees, there's no shame. You gotta start somewhere. So, on your knees, you're coming down and right back up again. Make sure you're exhaling as you're pushing up. On your knees as well too, make sure your legs are fully extended as far as your thighs and your hips are. So they're coming down, connecting with the ground, and then pushing right back up again. Over time, this will definitely get easier, and as you do more and more on a regular basis, you'll find over time, not only do they get easier, but keeping your form will be a lot easier too. So, once again, feet out, hands about shoulder width apart. What I'm doing on these, coming down, pushing back up again. Pretty basic, but like I said, at the beginning, I understand it's difficult because I've been there before. Starting out, it definitely can suck. You can find yourself kind of flopping around. Sometimes people look like they're doing that move, like the worm, I think is what it's called. And over time, as your core gets stronger as well too, you'll find your form gets better. So definitely practice these. I would recommend, if you're doing push-ups just in general outside of the workouts, just try to start out doing a couple of sets a day of maybe 5 to 10, work your way up from there. If you guys have any questions about push-ups, let me know. I'd be happy to help you with them. And thanks for watching, guys. Super short video today. I'm going to bring more workouts to you soon. If you guys have an idea for a workout you would like to see, I read the comments, so I will put that together for you guys.
For the reverse crunch, begin laying on your back with your knees bent, feet flat on the floor, and knees and feet parallel, hip width apart. Tuck your chin so that you're looking over the tops of your knees. From here, the actual movement will be that we'll drive our knees in toward our chest, lift our feet, and actually lift our hips up off the floor. So inhale, and then as you exhale, knees come in and lift your hips. Now lower your back to the floor first, slowly lower down with control as you inhale and repeat. We really want to keep our core engaged throughout. If your back is starting to arch here, that means that you've lost some of the engagement through your core, so you can always reset, press your low back down, squeeze your glutes. That's important. Also keep this out of your hip flexors as much as possible and continue.